So we are, I think as you heard, a life and health insurer out of South Africa. But we've kind of globalized into 7 markets now. And we built our business on a very simple, but I think fairly compelling vision or purpose: make people healthier. That's been our kind of battle cry, our North Star. It's about everything that we've done since the founding of Discovery. I'm convinced that the business model we've created is applicable to global insurance, and I think through that process we can really disrupt global insurance markets, both life and health, and in fact motor insurance and others, through this idea of shared value insurance. It's important I provide a bit of, I've got a bit of time, is that right? Provide a bit of context. As you heard, we're a South African insurer. The company was started in 1992. And just to understand, we started in South Africa in a very difficult time. Nelson Mandela was just released. The country was going out of apartheid into a democracy. And kind of the really complex question was, how do you build a health insurance company in a very complex environment? Just bear in mind, we have the highest levels of HIV/AIDS. We have all of the infectious diseases, the non-infectious diseases. There's a quadruple disease burden in our country. Secondly, we have too few doctors. So the doctor density is just too little. We probably need 4 times the number of doctors that we have. And then finally, and I think correctly, our government has a very, very egalitarian mindset about insurance, which I think is right given our past. So, but like the Obamacare, you can't rate people differently, you can't decline people, you can't use actuarial rating factors in the pricing of insurance. So when you kind of combine these factors together, the question was, how do you build a sustainable health insurance company? And I think our epiphany was the simple idea of making people healthier. If you focused on the demand side, on the patient, could you bring the demand for healthcare down, and in that process create a sustainable health insurance model? And that's kind of how we started. The truth is, and this is my opinion, I think trends in the world, globally in most markets, are directionally in the same way. There are a few things. First, I think millennials, the people that we're serving more and more, have a very different perspective about institutions. They are civically minded, they expect engagement, etc. The second point I think is quite critical. People are living longer, and they're living longer sicker, and that creates all kinds of actuarial and clinical problems. The third issue you know well, but it's important to put it here, is technology. Technology is rapidly disrupting most industries. In our space, wearable devices, Fitbit, Apple Watch, these are wonderful things. They really are enablers, and this is really creating a whole kind of move towards the quantified self, and I think that's fantastic. But the real disruptive force, I'd put you, something that may be a bit more obscure, is the nature of risk itself has dramatically changed in sickness and in mortality. So in wellness and mortality, things have changed. And the fundamental change over the last number of decades has been a move from pre-existing risk to behavioral risk. Mm-hmm. The fact that most of the mortality and morbidity risks that people face is based on decisions that they make behaviorally. I kind of like this mnemonic. It's not that accurate, but I think it is very good. 3, 4, 50. 3 lifestyle choices: smoking, poor nutrition, poor physical activity, create 4 conditions: cancer, diabetes, heart and lung disease, that drives 50% of mortality and 80% of the global disease burden. It's a remarkable statistic, and that is at the core of kind of the disruptive force in the life and health insurance markets. The obvious question that will kind of define our business model is, why, if these decisions are so critical to the way people live, why do they make them? Why are people so irrational? And we know more and more from behavioral economists that people don't act rationally. They act very irrationally. In the context of this, the well-known healthcare paradox, that we know now that healthcare is overconsumed, wellness and prevention is underconsumed. And the reason I think is actually quite simple. Healthcare at the point of care is free. It's paid for by government in some countries or insurers, so it's free at the point of care, but the benefits are immediate and obvious and evident. Whereas in the case of wellness, it's the other way around. At the point of doing it, the price is high. You've got to do things you don't want to do, go for that run you don't want to go for, avoid the food you want to eat, and the benefits are 20 or 30 years away. So we're learning from over-optimism and what they call hyperbolic discounting that people want instant gratification, and so they kind of put off doing wellness activities. That's a critical issue, because I would put it to you, and I hope you agree, that insurers like us really monetize behavior around sickness and around longevity. That's what we do. So we have the resources to change behavior, and that is at the core of what we did as a company. The simple idea of really creating shared value from the get-go. So using financial incentives to almost bribe, in a way, benevolently bribe people to behave differently. Their behavior creates profitability in the system, actuarial surplus, using some of that surplus to fund the incentives. And so you get this kind of virtuous cycle of really institutionalizing shared value. Value goes to the customer, the member, value goes to the insurer, and you get this virtual cycle of better behavior. That's what we did. The manifestation of that for us has been our Vitality program that's in fact present in the US, but effectively what it does is a very simple, we think, intuitive idea for customers. They do healthy things across the board, physical activity, nutrition, prevention. They earn Vitality points, gives them a status from blue to gold or platinum, and they get really substantial rewards. But behind the scenes, we've created a very, very complex actuarial clinical tool that links into the pricing of insurance. And in effect, as people do this, what they pay comes down. And so they can save considerable amounts of money in the process. So all parties, I would argue, are satisfied. We certainly are. We have a differentiated product. We have something that really does social good. Our business is highly profitable. But the real thing is our customers are healthier. And our customers see real value, not just in centers, but in fact in better health. So, I would say to you that if you look at Discovery today, we've grown a business from a startup in 1993 to an $8 or $9 billion company today. We serve 6 million customers with 10,000 employees. So the company has grown really well. But I think more important for us has been what we've done to our customers. 6 million people we serve, the intensity of activity in healthy things. People engaging show 15 to 20% lower healthcare costs. We've seen great experience on life expectancy, just given the samples that we have. So we're really getting really, really good traction. The point I'd leave you with is just to say that I do believe that we have the opportunity to globalize this and to change, because I think insurance is a trigger event. If you can change people, there's a knock-on effect. So we are in the process of working with, I think, some of the best companies globally to embed the model in their insurance businesses in the same way. So we formed, in effect, a Vitality Alliance. In Asia with AIA, which is the largest Pan-African insurer. In China with Ping An. In Europe with Generali. Here in the US with John Hancock, that you may have seen. And effectively in the UK and our home market, that's where we are. So what we're trying to do, and I believe it's doable, is through this mechanism, really globalize the concept of shared value insurance and make, I think, a remarkable effect, not just on the markets from a financial perspective, but more importantly, changing people's lives for the better and getting back to our purpose, which is make people healthier.